Hello and welcome along to episode 5 of Ollie Murphy Track Talk. I'm your host, Daniel Hussey. Delighted to welcome Matchbook Ambassador Ollie Murphy. Ollie, you've been busy last couple of days now, in fairness, and there seems to be a lot more horses being entered. Has there been much rain in England over the last week for those living in Ireland?
Yeah, no, unfortunately not. Dan, we just had a few tracks there that have done a good job with their watering, and we've gone up north a little bit as well. So yeah, still desperate for rain. I believe Cheltenham have been watering now for the past 10 days. So that kind of shows you where we are at the moment. But hopefully that'll change sooner rather than later.
Yeah, it's a mad time of year for sure in terms of the weather. But look, talking a little bit about some of your horses that did manage to get a run over the weekend. Firstly, with Itchy Feet, I thought he ran a superb race. He looked all the world for the winner. It's just such a long straight there in Haydock that it's so hard to get a horse to lead and then stay going all the way to the line there.
Yeah, no, it was a hard watch, wasn't it? But no, he ran his heart out. He obviously still retains a lot of ability, and he's still going to be well capable of winning one of those nice hurdle races. He's just had a new lease of life since going back over the smaller obstacles. And listen, we're going to have a look at the Pertams now in Cheltenham, and kind of see whether we'll go there or not. But he's in really good form. He's come out of his run well, and great to see him kind of put two good runs together. Obviously, winning the Pertams qualifier at Huntington, and then running so well in the Grade Two at the weekend.
Yeah, well, he says, sorry, you say that he's qualified for the Thames. Look, it could be, it might not even be a full field this year, just given a little bit of messing with the qualification changing, and there seems to be less horses, potentially less Irish plot jobs then in that case. Is that the sort of check the field a week beforehand or make the call before then, do you think?
Yeah, listen, I'd love to run him. I'm yet to kind of discuss it with the racing manager, Nick Brown, who's put the syndicate together. But just the one thing I'd be slightly concerned about would be a real big field, just whether he'd salt now with a field of 22 or 24. So we'll discuss it now in the next kind of week, 10 days. But he's come out of Haydock well, and it's just great that he retains plenty of ability. And if there wasn't a big field, I don't see any reason why he wouldn't run very respectable.
Good stuff, yeah. Again, it's one of those races that you might see a lot less than the 24 you usually see. The Wolf, brilliant performance there over the weekend. I gave him an honourable mention, Ollie, you might not know this, on the Matchbook Horse Racing podcast, based on what you said, that he's going to win one of these one day. I thought at one stage, I know he was well beaten in the end, I thought he was coming with a winning run, but he ran superbly to get fourth.
Yeah, no, he did run well. Listen, if he jumped the last, he'd have been a good third. But yeah, he loves to take offence with him every now and then. The blinkers have worked well on his last start. So yeah, I still believe he's going to win a good handicap one day, and he will land somewhere at 33-1, and it won't be the biggest surprise to me in the world. But yeah, he ran well. He's beat 11 lengths in a 100 grand handicap, and hopefully sooner rather than later he might land on one of these.
Yeah, definitely one to keep an eye on. And when you see him in and around that 20s one, it's hard to resist having a few quid. Huvari was a very impressive winner of the maiden hurdle there by 15 lengths. Not often you get a horse that wins a maiden hurdle by 15 lengths. Did it surprise you a little bit, that performance, or?
The performance probably did. Him winning didn't surprise me. I thought the step up and trip was going to suit him real well. Um, yeah, he was impressive, wasn't he? Usually a maiden hurdle at this time of year might not be the strongest bit of form in the world, but yeah, I didn't think it was the worst race of all time. He'll go and run a novice hurdle now, probably the Sunday before Cheltenham at Market Raise, and then listen, if he went and won there, then we might look at something in the spring at Aintree or something like that. I think he's going to get a mark of 128. So the handicapper obviously thought that his performance was a good performance as well.
Yeah, and you just put it down maybe to the step up in trip, maybe this time of year, combination of the two, perhaps.
Yeah, I just sort of step up and trip suit him well. Listen, he was third now behind the horse of Gary Moore's in his last start. That was third in the Betfair hurdle at Newbury the previous week. So when you look back at that, maybe it wasn't the biggest surprise in the world to everyone that he did win. He had some good form going into the race.
Yeah, absolutely. One to keep an eye on. Maybe, like you said, maybe a novice hurdle in Aintree if he does perform well on Market Raise. And final horse from the week that was Fleurman. We talked about it last week. Ollie, we said you wouldn't let him go off at 10-1. He went off favourite, and very impressive winner by 3 lengths. You must be buzzing to have a horse that was struggling over obstacles. You bring him over the all weather, and now he's got 2 wins, which is brilliant.
Yeah, no, he's been had a remarkable revival really since he's gone back on the flat. He was a very, very decisive winner now. A couple of days ago, I thought he was actually very impressive. I don't know what the handicap is going to do to him, but he's going to go and run in one of those qualifiers for Good Friday at Wolverhampton in a couple of weeks' time. and then have a view of maybe going back up to Newcastle for the final, which is worth a lot of money on Good Friday. So yeah, nice to have found his mojo. Unfortunately, he's a horse who doesn't really like his jumping, so we reverted back to the flat, and it's paying dividends at the moment.
Okay, good stuff. Moving on to Saturday then, and some of the horses coming up. So we had good fun on the horse racing podcast. Would have been myself, Charlie Post, Tom Stanley, and Dan Overall. And Charlie Post, Tom, and myself have all put up to go Dante just to give him one more chance. How is he? And do you give him a squeak there in Sheffield tomorrow?
Yeah, I do. Do you know what? Just before you Toxter, did I think he'd win in New Toxter? I did, but he blew his mind. He was very, very keen through the race. He was like a bull in a china shop. He was a horse who obviously hadn't had a run in 12 or 13 months, and he was just too fresh. We had a very, very cold spell prior to him going to New Toxter as well, and I probably didn't get as much work into him as I probably wanted to the week previous. And he just ran very keen. But yeah, we're dropping him back in trip. Sean Byrne up in his back, big galloping track, running a 0 to 125. So listen, if he still retains his ability and runs through the race in a mature manner, which hopefully will do this time, hopefully he's a horse who's going to go very close.
Yeah, keep an eye on him at Chepstow tomorrow. And then Kempton the Dovit at 340, You Can Tango is a horse that look, you can put a line through potentially his last run there. He went off 40 to 1. The soft ground, I'm guessing, probably didn't suit. This is probably a sharper track, flat track that might suit this horse a lot better.
Yeah, he's done a lot of his winning on flat tracks, Stratford, Aintree, and Wetherby, all on flat tracks. I know he ran well at Cheltenham, but yeah, his best form has come on flat tracks. So really looking forward to running him. Bit of better ground. He's got plenty of experience for a race like this, and I actually really, really fancy this lad. I'm really looking forward to running him, and if you can put a line through his last run, I think he holds the strongest form in the race. I think he's got stronger form than the favourite. He's got stronger form than the Paul Nicholls horse, and if he turned up like he did in Cheltenham, I really honestly think he's going to run very well.
That's music to my ears, Ollie, because the reason I dropped you a text yesterday was I did put him up as my best bet for the weekend. So this is brilliant. This is going too well, I think.
Listen, I hope you're right. And obviously, listen, he's a 4 or 5 to 1 shot.
Yeah,
but he's in very, very good form. I think conditions will suit him. And listen, if he finishes third tomorrow, he's a horse to go down the handicap route. But the plan of action is to run tomorrow at Kempton. Obviously, it'd be great if he won, or if not, run very well, and he'll then hopefully go to Aintree for the conditional jockeys race. That's the plan of action.
Yeah, like you said, looks a very winnable grade too. Horse that you mentioned at the start of the year, maybe a horse to follow, Rambo T. Hit the crossbar a couple of times. How is he going into Chepstow tomorrow? He's running in the first.
He's a horse who's going to really appreciate a step up in trip and a big track. I would be disappointed now if he didn't hit the cross, like hit the back of the net tomorrow. Now, bar an excuse, he's in very good form. He had a very good run in Fontwell behind a good horse, Gary Moore's. He had a good run in Ascot first time out. He had a reasonable run the last day in New Toxter, but he was beaten by a good flat horse on his last start at New Toxter, and I just think the step up and trip's going to suit him. We'll ride him good and positive, and I thought it was my best chance for winner for the weekend.
Oh, brilliant. And then quick word on Raging Bear, who's in the following maiden hurdle.
Yeah, he's going to have to improve on what he showed at Wetherby, but a nice big horse for the future. Big staying chaser in the making, but looking forward to giving him his second start. But I thought that looked the warmer of the two divisions.
Brilliant. And then on to Sunday, Ollie, the reason I mentioned there's a few more horses. Brewing Up a Storm, and All Favoured is back. How is he, and is he got a decent chance in the grade too?
Yeah, he's in good form. Listen, he's had a wind up since his last start, and it's been tight now getting him ready for this race. But I think I've just about got there. Listen, in all honesty, I'd have loved another week, but he's in very good form. He galloped well this week, scored well this morning, and yeah, we're looking forward to running him. He's got a good record in the race, and fingers crossed he can go and replicate the last couple of years and go and run very well in that.
Yeah, absolutely. And then on to a couple more on Sunday. Grandad's Cottage and Drop Him In. How are they?
Yeah, good. Drop Him In's gonna have to improve dramatically on what we've seen thus far. He has been disappointing since he came over from Ireland. And Grandad's Cottage. Listen, if the ground's slow enough, he'll run. I just hope that the ground isn't going to be on the quick side. He's had leg issues before, but he's in very good form. I thought it was a real good performance when he won at Wetherby. And again, I thought he was one of my better chances for the weekend.
Great stuff. And then just a quick look ahead to the Cheltenham Festival, Ollie, and maybe a comparison with Chasing Fire and comparing them to your other two Supreme horses from a couple of years ago. Is there much comparisons? Because I was speaking to Charlie Post about this, and he was saying he reckons Chasing Fire is a more straightforward horse than those two.
Yeah, he probably would be. Listen, he's a horse that has done nothing wrong to date. He seems very professional. Touchwood, he jumps good, and travels through his race like a good horse. Obviously, we're going to step him up in grade dramatically, but he's always worked like a very good horse, Dan, and looks a wide open race this year. And I'm just hoping he's got a good each way chance, and fingers crossed we're getting there in one piece on the day.
Yeah, it was just I was looking at the Supreme, and it did kind of remind me of that 2019 Supreme. Looks a wide open field, which you wouldn't have said before the Dublin Racing Festival. But in fairness, it was one horse that a lot of people were afraid of, and you're always kind of looking at the Supreme for this horse. You mentioned before, I think, that you would have liked to have gotten one more run into him. Would that have been just a more competitive race, I guess? Or
yeah, ideally, but listen, beggars can't be choosers. There wasn't that race to run him in, but he's a very professional horse. He'll have a gallop now in the next 10 days away from home, just to knock the edge off him. But yeah, he's in good form, along with strong leader who's done nothing wrong either, and hopefully have two each way chances.
Brilliant. And then listen, Ollie, if there was one horse that you'd like to you think is your best chance, you've mentioned a couple there, one at a price and one is your best bet, but kind of if you had to pick one for guys to keep an eye on over the weekend, who would it be?
I thought Rambo T was the one for the weekend now.
Okay. Yeah, I like that a lot. And then obviously you could mention to You Can Tango as well. Ollie, thanks a mil. We will chat to you next week.
Great stuff. Thanks, lad.